Hi everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Chrissy. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be learning how to draft and cut this beautiful A-line dress with a stylish yoke at the back. Okay, if this sounds like something I'm interested to learn, please keep on watching and let's get started. If you're my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always watching. Kindly hit on the subscribe button. Also turn on notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I upload new videos. For my old subscribers, thank you so much for watching my video. New subscribers, thank you so much for stopping by. So let's dive right into today's tutorial.
Two souls colliding. We shared the pieces of ourselves. It's perfect timing now.
To start out with this tutorial, you're going to mark your starting line or your shoulder line. From there, you place your tape, come down by your bust point, mark your under bust, mark your waistline, your hip line, the length of your gown, including the sewing allowance. Okay. So I repeat the same thing on this side as well. After marking, I'll use my ruler to connect those points in a straight line. After connecting or making my straight line, I will label, okay? Just like this. Next thing you want to do is to mark half of your shoulder circumference. Okay, come down by your armhole depth. Mine is 7.5. You can also call it the chest line. Connect the point like this. Can you see? I will label as chest line. This is my shoulder line. So I came down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, and I divided what I had there by 2. Mark the midpoint, come inside by half an inch. From the chest line, I marked quarter of my bust circumference, and I used my curve ruler to connect those points to give me my armhole curve. I marked 3.5 for the neck width. Can you see? After that, I will connect the shoulder slope to the neck width just like this. The next thing I did was to come here on the bust point and I marked half of my nipple to nipple, which is 3.5. My nipple to nipple is 7 inch, so half of it is 3.5. After marking from the waistline, you come down by 4 inch. You mark the same 3.5 there, or whatever you have for your nipple to nipple. Connect those points this way. From the waistline side, you're going to come out by half an inch on both sides. Then from the bust point, come down by 1 inch. Then connect from there to the 1 inch you came down by on the bust point. Just connect them this way. Can you see? So after I was done with this, next thing I want to do now is to include my measurement. So you mark quarter of your bust circumference, add 1.5 inch for seam allowance or 2 inch. On the waistline, you do the same thing. Then replace the 1 inch for the dart. On the hip line, mark quarter of your hip circumference and add 1.5 inch for your seam allowance. Add 2 inch, 2.5 inch, or 3 inch. It depends on how free you want that shape to be on the hip side. You know the hip is not hugged, like it's not tight, so because of that I added extra 2 inch to my hip. So I measured what I had there in total. It was not up to 13 inch because I added just 2 inch for the freeness on the hip side. Okay, so I had to connect from the hip to the gown length. So once I'm through with that, I'll come down here on the gown length, that is the hem side, then I'll add extra 2 inch, okay, to give us the flay effect or a-line effect. Okay, so you go ahead and connect from there to that point. Then on the hem side, you're going to come up by 1.5 inch. Okay, for the curve effect, you give it 1.5 inch. So on the bust point, you're going to come down by 1.5. I want to create a bust dart because if you look at the picture inspiration we are working with, you would notice it has a bust dart. So you connect from there to the bust point. Now I marked half an inch on both sides. Okay, then I went ahead to connect as well, just like this. So this is all for the bust dart. Can you see? So I have 1 inch here. You can see on that point, you can see I have 1 inch. Half inch plus half inch is 1 inch. So I'm going to include the 1 inch on the hem side. Okay, just like this. You include the 1 inch, like you replace it back. So by the time you close up this dart, the bust dart, you will not have any shortage on the length. Okay, so after I was done with that, from the shoulder to the bust point, I have 9.5. So what I did was to extend this chest line, which is my 7.5 inch. So I still measured and I have 7.5. So it's two down. If I do it like that, my cleavage will be showing very well. So I had to mark 6.5 inch. You can also mark yours 6 inch. Okay. So now I labeled here as new chest line. So this now becomes my new chest line. I don't want it to expose or too open. Okay. So from this side of the armhole, I came inside by 2 inch. And what I'm going to do is to connect from the neck width to that point. Okay. Just like this. I connected from there to that point. Just this way. So now I want to tighten the shoulder area to avoid it caping after sewing. So I came up by 1 inch. After marking, I will go ahead and connect from there, like you give it a slant, just like this. You can see what I did here, and I also went ahead to shade it. So this shading means that it's going to be cutting out from that part. Okay, so I'll just go ahead now to cut it out, just like this. Can you see? I'll cut every other part as well.
But we're still learning to trust. It's never enough.
So guys, after cutting this, the next thing I want to do is to slash through the center line I have for the bust dart. Okay, through the center, the first line you marked. So now you're going to close up the darts. Okay, just like this. Then use your masking tape or your solid tape to tape it. Now this is the yoke. So I removed the 1 inch for shoulder slope just to measure. I had 36 inch, so my length is complete. You can see because I replaced back the 1 inch I removed for the dart. Okay, so now we're going to cut the back. This is the back. I've already drawn my 1 inch, 1.5 inch zip allowance and basic lines, including the armhole curve. I've already done that. So 3.5 inch is for the neck width. All right, so what I did was to come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. After that, the next thing I want to do is to mark half of my nipple to nipple on the waistline. I did the same thing on the chest line. From the waistline, I came down by 4 inch. Then I also marked half of the nipple to nipple there. I had to connect those points. After that, I subtracted half an inch on both sides on the waistline. Just this way. And from the chest line, I came down by 1 inch. I will connect those points like this. Okay. So after I was done with this, next thing I want to do is to include my measurements. Okay, so on the chest line, I'll mark quarter of my bust circumference. Then I'll add 1.5 inch for seam allowance. On the waistline, mark quarter of your waist circumference, add your 1.5 inch, place the dart. Okay, on the hip line, you're going to mark quarter of your hip circumference plus 1.5 inch for seam allowance, add back the 2 inch, just like we did at the front piece. Go ahead and connect like so. Okay, so after I was done with that, I'll measure what I had there on the hip line total. I'll mark it on the gown length, that is on the hem, then connect those points just like this. Connect to the hip line. So blend it to avoid any form of sharpness on the hip area. Okay, so from the gown length, you're going to come outside by 2 inch to give it the flay curve or a-line curve. Okay, so go ahead and connect to the hip line just like this. The next thing I want to do now is to remove the zipper budge. So on the waistline on the zip side, remember I marked 1.5 inch for the zip allowance, so I came inside by half an inch on the waistline side of the zip. I came inside by half an inch. After marking, I will go ahead and connect like so. Just watch what I'm doing. Go ahead and connect it like this, just this way. All right, after that, you can see what I have here. So by so doing, you already removed your zipper board. So on the armhole side, you're going to come inside by 2 inch, connect from there to the shoulder area. Okay, so I'll also tighten the shoulder to avoid it gaping. So from that side, I came up by half an inch, then you slant it this way. So this side will be cutting off. Can you see? From the shoulder to the chest line is 7.5. So I want the back like deep. That's why it's like that. So for the curve, you're going to bring your front pattern paper, then you place it at the back pattern. Go ahead and trace the curve and cut it out just like this. So cut it out this way. So after cutting, guys, this is what I have. Can you see? So you place it like this and you label as your yoke. So I'm going to use my masking tape to tape it, so you will have something looking like this for the back. And for the front pattern, this is what I have here for the front pattern, and we have come to the end of this tutorial. Please note, this tutorial doesn't have a sewing part. I should have done the sewing tutorial like I promised on the last post I made. I said I was going to make the drafting and the cutting and sewing part of this dress, but because I didn't have time, I didn't have chance to create any content again concerning this. So I would like to show you guys on how to sew this, like if you want to sew. Okay, so after cutting your pattern paper and cutting out the, transfer it to the actual fabric, you're going to cut the same thing as the lining as well. Then for the lining, you're going to iron your hair stay on the lining to give it more structure after sewing everything together. Do you get? So iron your hair stay on the pattern paper, and for the fabric, you're going to use a Mikado fabric. Okay, a Mikado fabric, 2 yards will be enough because it's a short gown, so 2 yards will be enough. If you want to make use of crepe, you're going to look for a very thick crepe. Okay, look for a very thick crepe and also cord lining. You get cord lining, iron your hair stay on the lining, use it and sew this dress to give it a structure. All right, and for the Mikado, I think ironing the lining with the hair stay won't be necessary because the Mikado fabric is very very thick. It's a structure itself. Okay, so cut the sleeve, cut the shoulder, and we are good to go. This is very simple to sew. There is no boning on this dress. Iron your hair stay on the lining, just sew, and that's all for today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.